Rolling. Okay. So could you first do a self-introduce real quick? Like, what's your name, or who you are, and what you're teaching, whatever you want to say?
Yeah, that sounds good. So my name is Brianna Vargas. I'm a fourth year anthropology PhD student. I am teaching linguistics. This is my second year teaching Spanish analysis. And I've done 2 levels of it, so B and C.
Okay. So today's topic is gonna about some points like around like inequality or something like how East Asian students are not being fully cared or treated well by the school.
Okay.
So from my experience, like from the class, as I have told you, like some activities are totally American or Latin American based, but that's okay. But it's just feel like if they could care a bit more about East Asian students, it can make them feel more comfortable. For example, if they could say like, how do you feel if you are from a different background, not only as Asian student, but we are just focusing on East Asia. So what do you think of those kind of activity, or from our textbook? What's your opinion about those questions?
Yeah, so like I mentioned to you, the director of the linguistics program at UCSD is the one who wrote this textbook. And so he was very open to sharing like his process, and this was created based off of interviews with Spanish speakers in these communities. But yeah, when we talked and you gave an example of where there could be like, that's great, and it could have that inclusion because we want to get to know the culture of Spanish-speaking countries as well. But also, there is just a complete lack, as you were saying, of East Asian countries. So then I started paying more attention as we were going through, and I was doing my lesson plans and things like that. And so something as simple as like itinerarios, so like itineraries, where it's like if you have a connecting flight. So we focused obviously on Latin America, but it's very simple to, insert a few Asian countries and saying, as we're learning the prepositions por and para, to say we're going to East Asia, right? Like still using the para. So yeah, I definitely was like paying attention to those moments where even though we are trying to learn culturally about these countries, where there is room for that. Also, I was thinking about like the Philippines, for example, is like a lot of folks speak Spanish. And it's not one of the it's not like an official language of the country, but it is very spoken, and a lot of people know Tagalog and Spanish. And so it would be interesting to kind of throw some of those in the mix of like where there are those influences. For example, in Chihuahua, Mexico, there's also a lot of Asian influence because there was a lot of migration from China and I'm not even sure the history of it, right? But like even just like applying some of that here, I think would be really helpful to just help people feel like seen, like they're on the page in some form.
Very good.
Yeah.
And except from the textbook, some activities I've mentioned.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about any other material or anything from the teaching of the class, of the Spanish class, that could improve or change to be more inclusive for East Asian students?
Yeah, I think the more I was thinking about it, the more I thought that it would be a great opportunity to ask at the beginning of the quarter, like where my students are from, and actually like write it down. And because in some sections I ask it, and then some sections I don't, so it's not consistent. So making it consistent for starters, and then actually writing it down and having that like knowledge, because when I go through my attendance and I'm using like picking names for like volunteering, I can say, oh, like I know Bobby is specifically from this country, so I'm gonna ask like based on what we're speaking about in Spanish, like how is it in your culture? And I can be very mindful and specific about that. And I think that's an easy change that a lot of linguistic instructors in general can do, to just get to know where students are from at the beginning of the quarter, and that way they know where to draw from like different unique experiences.
Great, that's perfect. And I think I got the things I wanted you to talk about for the video.
Mm-hmm.
But if you anything else you want to say related to this topic, or anything you want to say for this interview, as the last question, we
Yeah.
want to end up. You want to end up whatever you want to say.
Thank you. Yeah. I would just say, yeah, I love that you all are doing this work, and I think it's really important. As linguistics professors, instructors, I came from anthropology, and there was really not a lot of like community building, and I will say in linguistics there is. They're very mindful about making sure that students feel welcome, that we're doing things to make you all feel like you're a part of a community on campus, being really mindful of like getting to know everyone's names individually. And so, yeah, I think it's really important that we listen to student needs and figure out ways that we can improve experiences for everyone that's in the classroom. Even if it's something as subtle as like, okay, getting to know like where my students are from and incorporating that. And linguistics is all about that. It's like, you know, students are getting to know another language because they're getting ready to use it in a different country or get to know people from different cultures. And so that cross-cultural collaboration is very important as well. So making sure that everyone feels safe and comfortable in these classroom spaces is super important for us. So I appreciate you for bringing this to my attention, and it's definitely something that I'll continue having conversations with my co-instructors about.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much.